Deion Sanders to the Cowboys? No, I'm just messing around. We were told to have some fun starting off this podcast with Colorado preview and the Bearcats showdown Wednesday night. Now, that's not happened yet, Lily, but it's a possibility. Deion Sanders going to the NFL, right? Welcome to the show, Chatterbox Bearcats midweek show. I'm Nick Niehaus. That's Eric Lilly. If you're on YouTube, click that subscribe. Also, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. But back to that question, that's a hot topic since we're talking Colorado on today's show and the hoops. There's a lot of rumors out there regarding Deion Sanders.
Everyone in Boulder, Dallas, across this country, they're talking about Tad Boyle and the Bearcats coming to town. They're not talking about Deion.
All right.
No, he's not getting that job. Come on, guys.
You don't think? No. I don't know. Yeah, we were told to have some fun off the rip for the Colorado show. So, Lily, it has been quite, I think I said this last week, but I guess now it's 2 weeks. It's been quite the 14 days to be a Bearcat fan. We're going to talk about, obviously, a little bit about the Kansas game, just the state of the program. I know you and Chuck had a show, a pre-week show. Is that what you called it? And we're also going to have a new segment. I've been tweeting out a poll every single week, and I'm just going to do it going forward every single week. So, poll of the week is a new segment. We're going to dip our toes into the preview of the Colorado game out in Boulder. And then we're going to end with the mailbag segment. So 3 things on today's docket. Got anything for us, Lily, before we get started, before I get into the poll of the week?
No, just if you haven't listened to that emergency pod with Chuck, go for it. It's not like you don't have to listen to these things in order. It was kind of a optimistic look on the current situation, which isn't very optimistic, but it was, I'm good at that part of it.
You sure are. Poll of the week. Let's get it started. I got 212 votes. The question was, who is at fault? Wes Miller or the players? This answer shocked me, frankly. 54% said the players, and 46%, of course, said Wes Miller. Now, there was a lot in the reply saying both, that you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side in these things. That's why we do it. This is sports media. Polls. Yeah, this is sports media. You don't get a third option. Does that shock you like it shocks me that 54% said the players?
Yeah, that really surprises me. I can't even remember if I voted. I probably, I got to vote for Wes just because he's a coach and he picked the team, And I was actually watching Colorado's presser, sick stuff here. Why am I doing this? But watching Colorado's presser after their West Virginia game on Sunday, and Tad Boyle mentioned at least 5 times to stop blaming the players. I'm the coach. This is my fault. I signed the scholarship sheets. I recruited them. If we fix it, it's like, this is all my responsibility. And I think you just got to vote Wes on that poll. Now, though, I think maybe it's a little weird this time because, and I know we didn't see a bunch of this on Twitter directly after the Kansas game, but I think, at least me specifically, that game felt like players, the Kansas game. Previous games felt like coaching. There were just so many, Kansas made their bunnies down the stretch. Kansas didn't miss a dunk. 2 turnovers down the stretch. Kansas didn't turn the ball over and give away free buckets at the end. It was just the little head-scratching errors that coaches are training these guys all summer, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, I'm blaming the players. So just for this game specifically. So maybe that was a little of it. Still surprising, though.
I like that from Tad Boyle. I can't vote on my own poll, which I hate. I wish I could vote.
We got to get a burner. I'm sure. Didn't we make a burner army or something?
Yeah, yeah. I need a burner. Anyway, yeah, I would. So you said Wes Miller was your vote, but then the Kansas game with the players, I would say the players. And if you want to say Wes recruited the players and ultimately it falls on him, understandable. I would vote Wes Miller with that logic. If that's the logic you're giving me, vote Wes Miller, right? But man, I can't get over the performances from CMOS and Jizzle. That is hard to overcome for me. And I know if Wes could be out there on the floor, smacking the floor and D'ing up, he would. Although D'ing up is not the problem, right? It's offense. And obviously he can't go out there and he can't force them to make shots. So I would vote players. But it shocks me that everybody, I guess, agrees with me, because there's a loud minority on the internet calling for Wes's job. I'm obviously not there yet. I'm a huge Wes guy. So I think I've said it on the podcast. If not, I've texted it to you guys. If we miss the tournament, then I'm on hot seat Wes. But until then, I'm not. Cord741. That's this guy's Twitter, and also his avatar is a Chicago Bear logo, which is, I guess we have Chicago Bear UC
Tough times
fans
for this guy right now.
Yeah, wow. Pick a new team, maybe. He said, and I agreed with this 100% in the replies of the poll. He said, I've seen too many open shots not go in. When they don't go in, the game plan changes, hopefully, in parentheses, and defense probably reacts differently. I think the players dig the hole. This is the point that I like from him. I think the players dig the hole, and Wes isn't good enough to scheme them out of it. That's probably fair. I don't want to say he's not good enough to scheme them out of it, but he's not scheming them out of it.
I kind of like that. And I think like our roster construction also doesn't get him out of it either, which is also his choice to, not have shooting big men and stuff like that. Like when teams are just sitting back right now, they don't want us to get to the rim. All these games we lost, it feels like we're watching the same thing over and over. But to his point, and I've been saying this too, if we could just start the game, and I know we started well versus Kansas, but if we can have an entire first half of making jump shots, just, the clean ones, maybe a covered one goes our way, and just set the tone for a game and make the other team adjust to us, everything can change in one game. So I think that's a pretty good case for voting players.
Yeah, and he also makes the team, to what you just said, like roster construction. Like, so if you want to vote Wes for that point as well, so be it. And a lot of people said, can we say both? And I know I already addressed this, but to that I say, if you're saying both, then I would assume that you blame Wes Miller more, because then it ultimately falls on him. And I need to, word these polls better. The last poll I said, is Wes on the hot seat? I should have said, should he be on the hot seat? This week I said, who is at fault? I should say, who is more at fault? I'm getting better. We're 2 weeks with, it's the first poll of the week.
Hey, they're your polls, right?
I know. Yeah, I guess I can do whatever I want. I've seen a lot this week of, man, Wes Miller, he's a really good recruiter, not a good coach. That's the easy take out there. I think that's true. I think he's a good recruiter, and I guess I don't necessarily think that's true. I take that back in terms of, I'm not going to say he's not a good coach yet. I just think that was a tough stretch, and we can get into that more. But I saw this also on the internet, and I want to bring this up. Is he a good recruiter? because everybody points to John Brannon as nothing. Like he provided us nothing. At least that's the attitude around him now. In the moment, maybe it was different.
He had some pretty offensive sets.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, right?
And again, like everybody's like, Wes Miller's a great recruiter because he's gotten these guys who are top 50, top 60, and we weren't getting that with Mick, and we didn't get that with Brandon outside of Zach Harvey. But I saw an NBA mock draft, at least the top 20, and it got me thinking. That question I already mentioned, is Wes Miller a good recruiter? Because on the mock draft, now this is somebody I mean, it doesn't even have a name on Twitter, but he's got some 1,000 followers. Me and you were talking. You said he's actually well respected in the NBA draft community. So I'm not like taking this guy's word as gospel or anything of that nature, but it's kind of like some of these names on this mock draft stood out to me. So I thought it was worth bringing up on the podcast. At 6th overall, he has Jace Richardson of Michigan State. At 12th overall, he has LeBaron Filan. I probably butchered that name. I never had to say it on air before because he's at Alabama and not at Cincinnati. And at 20 overall, he has Adu Thero of Arkansas. Now, if you are a Bearcat fan, you recognize those three names. We're after all three of those, and we're in the final, I'll say 4 of all of those. I don't know necessarily. I mean, we're in the fight. 3 out of those guys, or all 3 of them, are in talks of going lottery in the NBA draft. We missed out on all of them. I don't want to say Wes isn't a good recruiter because he didn't get these guys. Like, this is high level basketball. These are high level players. You're not going to get every single player, but the guys he has gotten that we've heralded him for, Rayvon Griffith, because he was top 60, Tyler Betsy, because he was top 35, and, Tyler McKinley, which obviously TBD, you can't judge that yet, and Jizzle James, top 60-ish as well, out of high school. Obviously, you look at Rayvon, can't get on the floor. Tyler Betsy, what has his impact been so far as a freshman? Whereas, I mean, Chase Richardson and LeBaron Filan are both freshmen. And also Jizzle James, who we still have high hopes for, right? And, he's just not performing very well at the moment. Again, I thought this was interesting, so I wanted to bring it up. I'm not saying Wes isn't a good recruiter because those 3 guys aren't playing outside their minds right now, but it was intriguing to me. So do you have any thoughts on, me kind of bringing this up?
Yeah, I have this thing with freshmen, even if they're 4 stars, where I protect myself as a fan. I know a lot of people are the opposite. Like, you see it with Evan Prater and like everyone wants the 4-star QB to start as a true freshman. That does not happen. And I think in this basketball is different though. So like, we recognize these guys from a year ago. We were finalists for all of them. 2 years for Thero because he committed to UK originally. And I think Wes is a really good recruiter, but in terms of getting names and getting involved with names, and I've sort of been grading him on a scale the past couple of years because and I know a lot of people hate this shit, but to me, finishing in second with Collier, like stuff like that, eventually it's going to pay off. So while it is a loss, it's like I was fed up with Mick after when we left the Big East. He checked out with recruiting. He's we've heard the quote, like he'll leave the arena if he sees Calipari walk in, stuff like that. I just love that mentality about Wes. He respects the program and knows that we can get guys like that. Dylan Mitchell's pretty highly coveted. Jizzle, there were some people that thought Jizzle was a little overrated out of high school. And you could say that about everybody, though. There's so many players. But we are lacking, like, just that one obvious big fish that just showed up and was great, like Jace. If we had Jace, Hickman's not here. And how much better are we? So, like, that stuff like that matters. Phylon was going to be like a luxury. Like, we were going for him with Jizzle and Day-Day. We're going for all three, which is probably why he ended up somewhere else. But I just think it's, and I know it's a hot topic right now, I just think it's kind of a weird conversation to have when we're probably at the lowest point of the season. If things turn around quick, we won't be talking about this. But I'm very generous with these freshman guys like Betsy and stuff. I'm going to give them 2 years. Like any 4-star, you're getting 2 years in my book. And some of them get 3, like Rayvon.
And again, I don't want this to I don't necessarily think he's a bad recruiter just because he missed out on these high 4 stars, almost 5 stars. And I do like the players he has gotten, but I'm trying to put a halt to the, man, Wes is a really, really good recruiter, but not a good coach. Because maybe he is. I just don't know.
It might be more in the middle for both.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly kind of the point I'm trying to make. Now, look, it's funny because we're talking about this, and Sean Abayev, is by 247 composite, like a 5-star, and looks like, he has the best high school tape I've ever seen of a Bearcat commit. So maybe I'm just like early bringing this up, but I've seen a million times on Twitter, like, great recruiter, bad coach. Then I saw this mock draft, 3 guys' names stood out to me, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's worth bringing up because I don't know. Maybe, like you said, I don't think it's necessarily as one-sided as people think. I think it's probably more in the middle. And I bring up John Brannon, and people give him hell. Tari Eason is he starting on the Rockets? I don't watch the NBA, but he gets serious.
He definitely plays.
He gets PT on the Rockets. Like, Brandon got Tari Eason in here, and now I'm talking about transfers, but David DeJulius as well. So, like, everybody likes to, crap on John Brannon, and I get it with all the circumstances or whatever, but, like, give him a little credit for recruiting. And those guys, Tari didn't do much at UC, so it's hard to point to Tari, but like DeJulius, would DeJulius be the best scorer on this team?
Maybe. Or he could get his own bucket,
So and again, John Brandon's recruiting class the last year was just what's his face, who ended up at Liberty.
The Bryson Spell.
Yeah.
Also, Gabe Madsen is the 4th leading scorer in the Big 12.
Yeah,
by the way.
and Gabe Madsen. So I just kind of want to put a little bit of a halt to the I just want to put a little perspective in. I don't want to put a halt to the Wes is a great recruiter because I, again, love Wes. Or at least I have loved Wes so far. The jury is out in the next week or so. But I think it's a little more in the middle. Because, like, some of these guys that we've gotten, maybe the recruiting databases weren't amazing. I don't know. I just, that was interesting to me. So I thought it was worth bringing up on the pod.
Yeah, and there's more to recruiting than just, stars and ratings. It's like team building. Like, look at what IU's spiraling right now. But they got a bunch of big names, and it didn't make sense what they were doing. That the roster doesn't work. I hope we don't get to that point because our roster makes enough sense to where we shouldn't spiral, in my opinion. But team building, roster building, recruiting the right guys, talent, like, there's just so many. Like, is this guy a developmental guy? Like, Rayvon at this point, I think it's safe to say the staff knew he was developmental. stuff like that. Like we all see 4 stars, we're like, let's go. He's going to be good. But if we went back and looked at every 4-star we've gotten since I was in high school, it would not be a very good hit rate. And some of our best players, like SK, was 3 stars. Dan was,
he was like
I mean,
105.
Skillings was, and I think he's our best player, but that's
he is
up to everyone else to decide for themselves.
No, he's the best player. I'm ready to put that stamp in here. And again, I want to reiterate that I didn't bring up Isaiah Collier. I didn't bring up Flory Badunga. Those are top 10 guys out of high school. I'm talking about like some of the meat and potatoes of like the top 75 in the country. We didn't get those 3 guys, and they have NBA hype not even 2 full years into their college career. But again, that is high level recruiting. You're not going to get every single guy. Like Calipari misses on guys all the time. But, I again thought it was intriguing. I was going to bring it up. Let's get into Colorado. They are 9-6, 0-4 in conference. Welcome to the toilet bowl. Beat UConn and Maui, their only power conference win. They have lost to Iowa State twice. Obviously, who's going to beat Iowa State either time unless you just have some dogs on your team. They also lost to Arizona State, UCF, West Virginia. I say not the same 0-4 as us. What do you think about them?
I think this is a really good spot for us. And, I thought Kansas State was too. But we're in the dumps right now. And we keep running into these like half-court defenses that don't respect us. And Colorado, they might be the worst turnover team in power basketball right now. I didn't look that up, but they're 344th in turnover percentage. 21% of their possessions are turnovers. And it's steals and non-steal turnovers. It's everything. I've got a stat here that blew my mind. We could bring back stat of the day here, or stat of the week here for this one.
Yeah.
Colorado has 10 players on their roster over 20% turnover rate. 10. And Cincinnati, we're not we're not the most disciplined, clean team here, guys. Cincinnati has 0 over 20% turnover rate.
Let me cut you off there. So you're telling me, now I'm not a math guy. You're telling me they have 10 guys on their roster where if they get the ball 5 times, they're going to turn it over 1 out of 5 times.
Yep, it's based on possessions, the amount of possessions they're in the game, and their turnovers when they're in. So it's like,
so they
turnovers
might not even might not even get the ball, and it counts to that.
Yeah, and we've turned it over 15%. They're at 21.3.
Oh,
it
my
is
God.
an epidemic. Tad Boyle mentioned it in the presser like 5 times. All he talked about was, this is my fault and we got to stop turning the ball over. And I'm just going through their roster. And just for people who don't like the percentages, something more approachable. They have 6 players with over 20 turnovers this season. We have 2. It's bad. It's big men, it's guards, it's home, it's away. They turn the ball over. And our problem right now is half-court defenses just sitting there watching us try to run offense. It looks easy for them to defend us right now, right? These last couple of games, we have not been getting easy buckets in transition, in the half-court. If you can't get in transition tomorrow night and get some easy buckets, then when's it going to happen? This is an opportunity to set the tone early on the points on the scoreboard and make it, just make it a little easier on ourselves.
I can't even believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth. But I think, oh God.
Say it.
I think we smoke this team. And I don't think that necessarily. Let me take that back. if you shoot just an average, if you have an average shooting night, we should smoke this team. I got hated on over the weekend at the Kansas game. I was out at I was out on Short Vine afterward, and then, somebody's like, "Oh, you flip flop like crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening this year."
Part of being a fan, right?
Well, yeah, yes.
We got to be a little delusional to keep some fuel in the tank.
Here's my take to kind of, I guess, explain what I mean by I think we should smoke this team. This Colorado team is a team that we realistically should look at and think we're going to blow this team out. But everybody is scared from how we have looked the first 4 games of Big 12 play. Everyone's scared. You ask a UC fan, "Hey, how you feel about the game against Colorado?" 10 out of 10 are probably going to tell you awful and that we're going to lose. Hey, guys, I want to remind you, that was a really tough stretch. Like, it was. Like, Arizona's good. Baylor's good. They might have had some hiccups early on. They're both good. Kansas is top 11. I was going to say top 10. I don't know if they're top 10 now. They might be. But that was a tough stretch. How many bad losses do we have this year, Lily? Yeah, I don't want to say how many in terms of how we've looked. That is not what I'm saying. In terms of a bad loss against a team, like a bad team.
I said it wasn't at the time, but I think Kansas State is trending towards bad loss territory. If they lose tonight, they're going to be Q3 away, which is
that's bad.
But yeah.
So one.
And so but like to your point, those 3 games, if you're in a funk, you don't get out of it typically versus those teams. Like, that's like the optimistic look, like, hey, this is when you start turning around. So if we do play well tomorrow, it's like, let's see what happens here.
And I want to finish my take of like, this Colorado team is a team that we should look at and think we should blow this team out. My point being, Cincy is still on KenPom the 6th best team in college basketball defensively. This Colorado team is like Deontay Vaughn in the late 2000s. They rely on one guy, Julian Hammond, who's shooting 41% from 3, averaging 14 a game. This guy is a stud. He had 23 against West Virginia, 26 against UCF. He did have 0 points on 0 for 7 shooting against Arizona State. That's when Trevor Baskin picked up the slack with 23 off the bench. And then Hammond, 21 points against Iowa State. So that's his last 4 games. Lock this guy up, and you will win this game. And we have the 6th best defense. And I want to point out that, like, yes, I feel like I've had the take, a couple weeks ago for about a month where the other team's best player has looked it. But even if he gets 15, like, lock the other players up. Like, we are good on defense. UC is a elite defensive team. So if you have an average shooting night, you're winning this game. So that's why I mean, here's the thing. Before I started prepping Colorado, I was one of those 10 fans that did not have a good feeling about playing Colorado on the road. And it is a road game. I want to add that in. But after prepping Colorado and knowing that they truly rely on this one guy, or at least they have recently, and they've lost all 4 when he scored 20 points in every single one except 0 in the other, I feel good. I do. Kill me.
And Hammond can't miss, man. Other than that Arizona State game, he's been shooting the lights out this year. Over 40% from 3. He's definitely like the focal point of their offense. And he's a 6'2 guard. So I think Jizzle will start again, but you're going to see Day on him a lot. And there's just a couple other things that scream we should win this game to me. And one is that this is the 14th tallest team in the country. they've like their guards aren't big, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 6, 8, 6, 10. The backups for those positions that play are 6, 9, 6, 11, 6, 9, 6, 11. They're big, but they suck at rebounding. Like there's just some red flags. Like they're not great at defense. They're awful. Their offense is worse than ours on KenPom. So there's just some red flags there. It's like, what's going on here? Like their big man, Elijah Malone, if you watch Colorado at all, you'll know who I'm talking about. The big fella, 6'11", 270, huge. That's obviously Hammond scares me, but he scares me a little just because Aziz, and I love Aziz, but I could see, like a big chunky fella with nice touch kind of messing with Aziz's defense. He doesn't exactly like defending bigger guys, I think. Like, and this guy's not gonna shoot threes like Eric Dixon. We don't have to worry about stuff like that. But I just get a little worried with just really unique players and guys that can body Aziz, and he's one of them. But again, this team sucks at offense. Lock them up, get in transition. And when they miss the shot, get in semi-transition. This really should be, if we want, and I still think we're making the tournament. I'm not even worried about it. But if we lose tomorrow, sirens go off for me. And that's not a good thing when my sirens go off.
I'm with you. And I feel like I'm going out on a limb here with this take of like, I feel good about this game. And I promise you, I'm not doing it to be different. Like, I'm not doing it because every other UC fan that you talk to is going to say the absolute opposite, which is fair because they have not looked good. We just scored 40 points. I get it. I really do. But this is the are we awful game because Colorado's not good. They're not. You ask a Colorado, like, they're 0-4 too, but like they're not like Iowa State, yeah, amazing. West Virginia's good. UCF and Arizona State are they? It's
scrappy.
It's not Baylor, Arizona, Kansas, and then season opener conference opener on the road.
Yeah, Kansas and I think it's safe to say they are Kansas State in that tier, but they don't have as much talent. Like a casual college basketball fan doesn't know these players, but they know 3 guys on Kansas State. So
yes,
while they are similar teams on metrics, you know which one you'd rather face.
Yeah, I've definitely given a lot of people some ammo this year on like why would I listen to anything he has to say, but and I just did it again. Yeah, I guess that's true. Everyone was wrong, and again, that's a good point. Was everyone so wrong about this team? Because I wasn't saying anything nobody else was saying. So I don't know. I feel good. It's crazy. It's crazy that I feel good. The only thing that holds me back is that it's a road game. And this is a stupid question. Does that altitude affect the shooting inside? If it's UC, yes.
It might affect us having only 6 good players because they'll get tired.
Yeah.
But kill them in the first half, guys. Come on. There is one more thing I wanted to bring up real quick. They do get to the line a lot, and they make tons of free. Like they shoot 77% from the line, which is what, like 15% higher than us. It's their guards getting to the line. They make their free throws. And I did my usual ticket map scouting Niehaus. There's going to be no one there. And those games scare me the most because I feel like
it's Temple. It's
the
Temple.
refs hear shit more, when there's no noise. And I'm just so the thing I'm watching early is foul trouble because we're thin right now, thin and thin air. And if Aziz picks up 2 early fouls or something like, I'd start panicking. Stuff like that.
It's I know I just screamed it as you were talking, but it's the Temple game when the snowstorm hit, and I think it was Jacob Evans hit that game winner. And I want to wrap up this Colorado talk, and I didn't even say anything about Colorado except the obvious, but I'll put it this way. I mentioned I flip-flop, and I've been flip-flopping all year on this team. If we lose tomorrow, you will not hear me say what I just said ever again on feeling good going into a game. Like you said, sirens going off. That's me too.
You might hear me do it again, but not as much.
No, because like this is a team you have to. If what were we top 20 going into the season, preseason 20? If you're really a preseason 20 team, you're going to walk into Boulder tomorrow and take care of business. No doubt about it. I said that about Kansas State, but like you said, they have Coleman Hawkins, they have Doug McDaniel. Like they have talent. They're not a great team. They're not a good team. They got talent. Colorado's not a good team. They have one. They're relying on one guy. So
yeah, and I keep talking about like these next 9 games. Sorry to derail again, but
you're good.
This is the moment. It starts tomorrow. If you want to just get into the tournament with no drama, it starts tomorrow. And right now we're favored in 7 out of the 9 games. And that road trip to BYU and Utah, we're favored in one and we're not favored in the other. You can drop both of those games. Those are tough games. This is urgent tomorrow, just because if you win this, beat Arizona State at home, then you've got Texas Tech at home and the 2 Utah teams on the road. That could be another 3 lot. Like, if you want to stay alive, you got to beat Colorado.
I know there's some people listening to us screaming at their radio saying, but Niehaus, we suck. We suck. And to that, I say, I'll answer that on Thursday morning.
Yeah, I just refuse to believe that we're actually this bad. So maybe denial, maybe not. We'll find out.
Yeah, this is
25 hours.
This is it for us. This is it. At least this is it for me. On my do we suck? This is the do we suck game. I'm labeling it. I'm gonna tweet that out. Game day. This is the do we suck day. I've been tweeting out in the morning of like knocked out, like a boxer knocked out, getting the count. That's me. I might just tweet a skeleton tomorrow.
I might not tweet at all tomorrow, man. I'm nervous. 4th in season.
Yeah, I feel good, but I'm nervous. Isn't that crazy? All right. Let's move on to the mailbag. We have a ton of questions. Thanks for the interaction. What should we start with? Let's go with since I was saying like, do we suck? Alex W asked, was Jacob Tossat right about UC? Basketball program struggling to keep up with the Big 12 as well. Jacob Tossat, his specific take was about football, saying that UC is the worst he said Power 5 football coaching job in the country. So I think Alex W is just saying, like, was UC's hater correct? Like, I think Tossat's just a UC hater. He's also an Alabama and an Ohio State fan. Oh, and he's like our coworker. I didn't even. I had to. Obviously have to bring that up, but like that's his take. I just don't think he likes UC, which is fine. But was he right about UC? I'll go with what I just said about 2 minutes ago. I'll answer that on Thursday morning.
I'll answer it right now. No, he's not right. The football, he did backtrack a little about being the worst football job. He started thinking about the Boston colleges of the world, maybe, and they made a good hire. Yeah, they made a good hire. It feels like more like happenstance than anything, but we're not the worst power job in football. And the basketball team in Cincinnati, this is a basketball school. We have a ton of basketball fans. They're passionate. They spend money on the team. They boo during 4-game losing streaks against 3 top 15 teams. Like, this is, I know Cincinnati football's had a lot of success the last 20 years, but this is a different, like, whenever Wes does leave or get fired, we're in the Big 12 now, guys. Like, we're going to hire a really good coach, a hot up-and-coming name, or we could even hire someone away from their job, like a sitting coach power job. Obviously, we're not going to get, like, any elite.
Yeah.
We're not going to take UK's coach from them. That's just not going to happen. But this is a really good program. We're in a transition period, and he said Power 5, so I think that says enough right there.
He also said that Ohio State should deny the college football playoff invite. And now, I mean, they're in the is he allowed to cheer on the Buckeyes Monday night? They should not let him watch the game.
I want a public apology on that one.
You know what? I respect the take. I'll put it that way.
I respect it because I don't know how you can even
Ryan
come up
Day.
with it. That's just crazy.
Well, he obviously just hates Ryan Day. Yeah.
Man, I would really hate to have a top 3 coach. Just would hate it so much.
Anyway, well, what you just said, a few like booing and stuff, that goes to this next question. Dante Corleone versus the world. Awesome name. Are we on the brink of becoming Temple basketball? It's been 6 years since we have been nationally relevant. Now it looks like we might have to wait another 3 to 5 years if West doesn't turn it around. No, because did you watch those games at Temple? They had like 30 fans in the stands. So no, yeah, I refuse to believe that.
That's an easy one. No.
Yeah, no, I refuse to believe
and kind of just overlaps with what I just said. It's like, we're in the Big 12 now, guys. We have a serious fan base. We've got our new arena, new facilities. This is, in terms of, I know people confuse program and team a lot. This program is like strong right now. Like, our foundation is there. And whenever West does leave or get fired, we will be fine. We're not Temple.
Yeah, another quick ones. Nick Bauer asked, what did we do to deserve this? And you asked, why can we never be happy? Would you like to expand on either of those?
2 great questions.
Very, very good question. I don't know.
I don't know how to answer them, man. It's just it's a mystery to me.
I'm
30. How old am I? I'm 34, and I don't know. Nothing's ever happened.
I don't know. Moving on. Also, I don't even know what to ask at this point. Just win the game. Yeah. Good question. Barry McQuadri. This is the Quadri Moore fan club on Twitter. Current chances in making the tournament. We have to decline the NIT if, God forbid, that happens again, right? Oh, those are 2 questions. I kind of like them. I mean, look, like Lilly said, 7 out of 9. 7 out of 9 were favored in, according to Ken Palm. What does 10 and 10 get you in the tournament, Lilly?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't have the schedule. I would have to, as you talk.
9 and 11 might. I had some prep that didn't end up. I don't really think I talked about it much on one of the pods, but if you want like a quick little, maybe save it for after the game. Don't waste your time before. If we win tomorrow, pull up bracketologist.com. It's a great website. It's pretty. You see all the quads there. It explains what the quads are, and you can see the remaining schedule. Texas 2024. Check them out. 5 and 9 quad 1, 3 and 2 quad 2, 5 and 1 quad 3. They had a quad 3 loss. 7 and 0 quad 4. None of those quad 1s were like quad 1 pluses. They weren't like at Kansas, stuff like that. They got a 7 seed. They went 9 and 9 in the Big 12. Our schedule is harder than theirs. We play 20 league games this year. 10 and 10 gets you in, and it's not even close. I think you could get in at 9 and 11. I just would rather not deal with the potential anxiety there.
I'm looking at the schedule, and there's like 9 games that I look at, and like with the thought process I had maybe after the Kansas State loss, like if I go to, because my expectations have obviously dropped greatly, but if I go back to my expectations on January 1st, just a loss against Kansas State before these 3 games that we just lost, I would say I see 9 wins on the schedule remaining at this point. And that's like Oklahoma State, TCU, Utah, UCF, like games now where it's like maybe they aren't like I can't just chalk them up as a W. But like January 1st, Niehaus would be looking at 9 games and saying, "Yeah, we'll win those no matter what. We'll be good."
Yep. And
so, yeah,
we put ourselves in a spot where like we don't have room for error with those now. So there is pressure there. And just real quick on the Texas thing again, Cincinnati was their second best win last year. Like that team was a 7 seed. So yeah, we can get in at 10-10. We can maybe get in 9-11. And I think we forgot the question was percentage. What percentage? I want to hear yours first.
Current chances.
I want to hear yours first. I'm afraid I might be too positive.
40% chance.
I'm going 70.
Whoa. Okay.
And if we lose tomorrow, that's going down to 30.
Oh, if we lose tomorrow, I'm 0.
Yeah.
0. And do we decline the NIT? I'm going to say no because I like going to home games and the $5 happy hour. And I just have fun.
I'm going to say we won't decline it. And I'm also going to say that I won't care. I will be too numb, and I'm not doing a fucking podcast on it either if we're in the NIT. I'm going to the side on that one.
Solo.
Yeah.
Okay. What does Ravon have to do to get some minutes? For the love of Christ, Noah Neal asks.
I've got this one. UC needs to be up by 20-plus points in the second half. That's how Ravon gets minutes right now.
I would say
or down 20.
He probably needs to shoot the ball better than he ever has in practice.
That's it, though, really. Like, a lot of people want to see him. It's just, I think we can say from what we saw out of conference, you can kind of see what he can be. And he, just respectfully, I don't think he can help us right now.
Yeah.
We're good at rebounding, and we can't shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Like last week, I was like, maybe give him some run. Like, what can he do? He can't hurt you, right? This was before the Kansas game. Then we scored 40 points against Kansas, and I have changed my tune. Here we go with the flip-flop. Here we go. Like, the haters were right. Shout out the haters. I flip-flop. And then not a Cincy insider. I like this guy. He always asks questions, and he's the one who came up with the CMOS bringing the ball up, and then he tweeted at us when CMOS brought the ball up, and we scored right away early on in the Kansas game. So this guy probably knows ball. He said, still would like to see more of the CMOS, Day-Day, Jizzle, Skillings, and Aziz/Mitchell lineup. So small lineup. No question. I guess no question was asked there. But anyway, also CJ Frederick had our offense moving so much more. His gravity as a shooter made the defense work much harder. Someone display the Sean Abai of signal in the sky. So there's like 4 things there. So let's touch on going small. I would like to go small. You would like to go small. End of discussion there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. CJ Frederick. Let's talk about him. I thought he went 0 for 4, right? And it's crazy because we've like killed Connor Hickman for doing the same thing, but I liked CJ's minutes. He's right.
This is just weird because we scored 40 points. Like, it's just a weird thing to say. Like, but there were things happening. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
He's right. The gravity
enough to where, like,
right.
when we're playing a bad team, it's going to work, right? Like, I think he looked good enough to say that. Like, Colorado's not great at defense. Is this a CJ spot? Maybe it is. Like, and the main thing that sucks about CJ is his confidence is just as low as the team's because he hasn't been playing. So we just need a big game, guy. Like, just one big game, and things can change. But spot on with I thought it just feels weird saying it after 40 points, but I thought when he was in, things looked different. Kansas is absolutely elite at defense, and they look the part, you know. So it's really hard to judge the CJ stuff right now, but I thought he looked all right.
Yeah, I agree. And gravity's a great word. Like, you have to respect him as a shooter, and that opens up the offense a little bit. Now, granted, it didn't. We scored 40 points. Someone displayed the Shauna Baev signal in the sky. Was it Houdini who said get Dave Yost on the line? And dude, honestly, I forgot about the whole Dave Yost thing. Like I saw, dude, there's a Dave Yost burner out there who replies to some of our stuff, but I forgot. I didn't realize the relevance. I forgot he's the one who got his Z's cleared, right? So
Yep, hero.
yeah, he's a hero. So yeah, Shauna Baev would. It's crazy to say a high schooler would be the answer on this team, but maybe he would be. I don't know. It's tough to say because I don't know if that. The issue with him is like, is the competition in overtime elite really all that good? Like some of these kids probably play zero defense, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I have the hardest time with projecting high school guys just because I don't know the talent they're playing against and stuff. But
yeah,
he could be a day one stud. He could also be one of those guys that can't hit a three and then he can't get to his mid range because of it. So my hopes are up though. I also think I know for a fact that before Abayev committed, that the staff thought Tillery was the best recruit they've landed since they got here. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with both of those guys.
So maybe Wes Miller can recruit, and I shouldn't have opened my mouth.
It'd be a great thing to be wrong about, right?
I would. And you know what? And to be fair, I didn't say I agreed with it. I just thought it was interesting enough to bring up. We'll end on Bearcat Carl. What changes do you think have to be made to make this team competitive again? I wish I made, how much does Wes make? Like, I guess millions to answer this.
I think 3.5.
Yeah. I wish I made $3 million. My answer has nothing to do with. Okay, I guess I have two answers. One, I need Wes to light a fire under someone's ass. Like I know, we've had Mick Cronin's had a hell of a week. He's had a hell of a week. Give me like 10% Mick Cronin on
just
of
a
Wes
little
Miller.
bit.
Yeah. Lay into somebody. And then we need Seamoss and Jizzle to earn their paychecks. That's my answer. Simple enough.
My answer is we might not have to. There's my answer. And it's going to be based on the Hickman injury. Hickman was dressed for the Kansas game. I don't think anybody grilled Wes hard enough about that to find out if he's like an emergency. Like if he's available to play if someone gets hurt, CJ. Or if he got benched and they're like protecting him with the injury statements. So there might be something there. It seems like he's hurt. And I think that's the change. And I know, like I've been saying, I think Connor's going to get better. I still think that as long as this isn't like some season-ending injury. I think I said last week, sit him on the bench, figure it out. Like, see what happens with CJ. I'm not saying CJ is going to like save our season or anything. It'd be foolish to say that because his body's unreliable and his confidence seems like it's in the dumps right now. But Connor being hurt gives you more 2 point guard lineups. You're getting more Jizzle Day. You're getting CJ, who, while Connor is a good 3-point shooter over his career, it's very like I forget who. I think maybe Wes talked about this in a presser in the offseason. There's different type of shooters, and CJ is that elite off screens. Like, guys got to chase this guy. Like, and Connor is not. He's not hitting the threes that CJ can hit. And the original statement that this came from was about Davenport. Davenport only made a couple types of threes. He wasn't running off screens like slippery, like Steph Curry, stuff like that. CJ, if it pops, can completely change an offense game to game. I don't think he's going to like change it for the season or anything like that, but there'll be games where he's on and will look way better. So I think the changes are made due to circumstance. And if there was anything else that was going to get changed, just going to slide it in again for the 10th time. Stagger your lineups, Wes. I don't need to see this bench lineup get their ass kicked every game. Play like spread it out a little here. Get Paige in with the starters. Get Betsy in with the starters with that small ball lineup. Stuff like that.
All right, that's the show. When I woke up today, I did not think that I was going to be saying that I feel good about this game against Colorado. But after looking at Colorado, I feel all right. I feel good. So, yeah, Lily, last thoughts before we wrap it up.
Not too much. Feel free to clip this later, but Deion's not going to Dallas, guys. He just wants an extension. For all the Buffalo fans that hung out for this podcast to figure out the inside scoop with that, he's not going to be the Cowboys coach. He wants an extension. Just a little flexibility, maybe get some more money for his assistants so he doesn't lose them to SEC schools every year. That's it.
I did forget the amount of Colorado fans that tuned into our football shows. So
and there are buddies too. Like, I'm not being mean. I'm just
I'm kind of worried they're going to hate me. Uh-oh.
We're going to have to shoot the comments in the YouTube video before people respond so they can see that we were just playing around.
Yeah, I'm in danger. I'm kind of worried that they're gonna hate me. I'm sorry. It was a joke. I'm sorry. Off the top of the podcast, it was a joke. Charlie told us to do it. It's Charlie. Yeah, that's it. Hey, Bearcats play Colorado. You're listening to this on Wednesday, so tonight, and I don't know. This will determine it. This will do it. This will do it for the Cats, in my opinion. And I think Lily said the alarm sounded for him as well. So anyway, make sure you
wait. I got one more quick thing.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Next time you guys see us, we can be 2-4. And Texas Tech coming to town. We can, and we should. So
yeah,
the vibes can change quick right here, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, that's the show. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on Spotify and iTunes. That's it. Go Cats.